What's up, YouTube? It's Mark from Kentucky, back with another $100 budget video. So this time what I wanted to do, I wanted to buy 10 graded rookie cards from the 1970s of all-star caliber players. These players, growing up, I remember watching them in the 80s, and these guys were all all-stars. I remember getting these guys out of packs when I was collecting, and all these cards that I pulled out of packs, these are guys that I deem sheet worthy, or nowadays I guess you can call them binder cards, but growing up I always called them sheets. So these cards, if I pulled these guys cards in a pack, they always went in my sheets. I ended up spending $108, so I went a little bit over my budget. I started buying cards for this project way back in March. It just takes forever for me to pull the trigger on cards sometimes. But here we go. I'm going to show you guys 10 graded PSA cards from the 1970s that these guys were all-star caliber players. Some of you guys will recognize these names. Some of you guys, newer collectors, probably won't know these guys, but these were all really good players. So I'm not going in any particular order, but I've got to switch it down here. The first card that I want to show you is from an all-star catcher. Kind of an underrated guy, if you ask me. It is a 1978 Lance Parrish rookie card. Got Dale Murphy on here as well. I bought this in a PSA 8. I paid $12.59 for this card. Lance Parrish, of course, he was played for the Tigers for a really long time. He was a 8-time All-Star. He was a 3-time Gold Glove Award winner. He was a catcher, had 324 home runs, 1,070 RBIs, and he played from 1977 to 1995. So Parrish was a heck of a player in the 80s. Really enjoyed watching him, and so he was on my list. I wanted to get his rookie card. Next up, I got Bill Madlock. This is a 1974 PSA 8 Bill Madlock rookie card. I paid $11.19 for this one. Madlock was a very good player with the Pirates. I really liked him a lot. I remember watching games in the 80s, and Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek were the announcers for the game of the week in the 80s. They're probably my all-time favorite announcers, and it seemed like the Pirates are on a lot back then, and I used to like Madlock a lot. He was a 3-time All-Star. He had a career batting average of .305. He played from 1973 until 1987, so he had a really nice long career. Very good player, Bill Madlock. Next on the list that I have is Mr. Ron Guidry. This is a 1976 and a PSA 7. I paid $8.99 for this card. Guidry was a very good pitcher in the 80s. He was a 4-time All-Star. He actually won the Cy Young Award in 1978. He had a 3.29 ERA, had 170 wins. He played from 1975 to 1988. Very good pitchers for the Yankees. Dominant pitcher in the 80s. He was always in the All-Star game discussion and Cy Young Award winner, Cy Young Award voting. He was always in there with the rest of the guys. The next one I picked up was actually a Hall of Famer, 1977 Bruce Souter rookie card. This was in a near mint 7 PSA, and I paid $13.49 for this card. It's crazy. His cards in an 8 go for like $30 or something like that. Didn't think that they would be that expensive. But Souter was a 6-time All-Star. He had 300 saves on the nose. Pretty cool. He had a career ERA of .283. He pitched 1,042 innings to get those 300 saves. So back then, a closer would come in like the 7th inning and be asked to get 3 innings worth of outs for their team to get the saves. In the 80s, man, he was lights out. You know, he was, I guess the Cardinals is where he racked up most of his saves playing for them. But I remember him and Dan Quisenberry from the American League would always win the Road Age Relief Award winners were those two guys. But Souter, you know, he's a heck of a player, great pitcher, Hall of Famer. I'm happy to have this card, and only $13.49 in a PSA 7. Next on my list, Sweet Lou Whitaker, 1978 Topps PSA 8. Got this card for $9.45. Lou Whitaker was a very good player in the 80s. You know, I loved him and Alan Trammell. Trammell was inducted to the Hall here a couple days ago. Really liked these guys. Trammell played his whole, or excuse me, yeah, Trammell and Whitaker played their whole career with the Tigers. You don't see that very often anymore. But anyway, Lou Whitaker was a 5-time All-Star. He won the Rookie of the Year award in 1978. He had 3 Gold Gloves. His career average was 276. You know, he had 224 home runs and had 1,084 RBIs. That's pretty good for a second baseman. Back then in the 80s, I mean, those were respectable numbers for a second baseman. He played from 1977 to 1995. Like I said, all with the Tigers, but he was a really good defensive player as well. I can't remember if I mentioned he had 3 Gold Gloves. So Lou Whitaker, he was always in an All-Star game too. You know, 5-time All-Star. Really enjoyed watching him back in the 80s. And the next player I have on my list is Dave the Cobra Parker. So this is a 1974 Topps PSA 7. I get this card for $11.04. This is one of the cards I actually bought way back in March. Dave Parker was a very good player. He was a 7-time All-Star. He won 3 Gold Gloves. He won the batting title in 1977 and 1978. He was 1978 MVP. He also was the 1978 All-Star MVP of the All-Star game. Parker had a great career. You know, he played right there. He's with Pittsburgh. He played for the Reds for a while. I think he ended his career with Oakland. But he had a career .290 batting average, 339 home runs, and 1,439 RBIs, and had a cannon for an arm out there in right field. I mean, he was a very good player. I really like Parker. I'm a big fan of his. Very happy to have this card in a PSA 7. Like I said, it was only $11.04, but I bought it back in March. His cards have gone up a little bit since then. And the next one I bought this one back in March as well, and he just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. This is the Jack Morris 1978 in a PSA 8. I paid $7.64 for this card, so a really good deal on this card, I thought. Morris, like I said, just inducted into the Hall of Fame a couple days ago, or is going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame this summer. He was a 5-time All-Star, 1991 World Series MVP. He had 254 wins, a 3.90 ERA. He had 2,478 strikeouts. I mean, he was a dominant pitcher there for a while in the 80s, and especially in the playoffs in the 90s, man. He was lights out. That game he pitched against Atlanta in the World Series when he was playing for the Twins was just awesome. I think he threw a shutout through 10 innings or something crazy like that. That doesn't happen anymore. You know, he put in the closers and he put in the relief guys in the 7th inning. But he played from 77 to 1994. Very good pitcher, Jack Morris. The next player I have that I really enjoyed watching, because he played for my favorite team, is Keith Hernandez. This is a 1975 PSA 7. I paid $8.49 for this card. If you ask me, Hernandez is an underrated player, man. He was, I mean, a very, very good player. Check this out. He was in 5 All-Star games. In 1971, he won the MVP, and he also won the batting title. His career average is 296. He had 162 home runs and 1,071 RBIs. He won 11 Gold Gloves. I mean, defensively, he was just the best. I mean, you couldn't. I mean, he was a vacuum over there. Very good player. He played from 1974 to 1990, and I loved him when he was on the Mets. You know, I loved it when he was on the Mets. One of my favorite players, one of my all-time favorite Mets players. But that's a 1975 Keith Hernandez and a PSA 7. Next on my list, you guys might not like this guy, but I liked him as a player. I liked him with the Giants. I hated him with the Cardinals. It's Jack Clark. Jack Clark was a four-time All-Star. He was a very good player, first baseman. He won 2 Silver Slugger awards. He finished his career with 340 home runs and 1,180 RBIs. He played from 1975 to 1992. This card I got very cheap. It was a PSA 8, and I got it for $5.09. But Jack Clark, whenever I pulled his cards out of my packs, I always put him in my binders. I always thought he was a very good player. It's also Lee Mazzilli's on this card too, which was a good player as well. But for $5.09, had to include it in this because he was an all-star player in the 80s. And last but not least, this one's the one that threw me over my budget. And this guy is a very good player. I was looking at his stats, and I can't believe this is who I was going to guess was going to get into the Hall of Fame from this recent Veterans Committee or whatever they're called now. I was going to guess Jack Morse, and I was going to guess Dale Murphy. I bought this 1977 PSA 8 Dale Murphy for $20.69. So this one threw me up over $100. I ended up spending $108.66. But Murphy, man, he's got to get in eventually. This guy was just so dominant in the 80s. I mean, he was very, very good. He won back-to-back MVPs in 82 and 83. He made the All-Star team 7 times, 7-time All-Star. He won 4 Silver Slugger awards. He hit 20-plus home runs 12 times in his career. I was looking at his stats, and I couldn't believe. Listen to his home runs per year. So in 78 he hit 23. Then in 79 he hit 21. In 80 he hit 33. He got hurt in 81 and only played 104 games. He only hit 13 home runs that year. Listen to this, though. In 82, he hit 36 home runs. 83, he hit 36 home runs. 84, he hit 36 home runs. 85, he hit 37 home runs. 86, he hit 29 home runs. In 87, he hit 44 home runs. In 88, he hit 24 home runs. In 89, he hit 20 home runs. In 90, he hit 14 home runs. And then in 91, he ended up with 17. And then after that, you know, he hung around for a couple years, but really didn't play a whole lot. I don't know, 63 games and 49 games. But this guy was, I mean, he should be in the Hall because he hit a total of, 398 home runs. He had 1,266 RBIs. His career batting average is 265, not so hot, but this guy was a dominant player. He did it the right way. You know, he was highly respected on the field and off the field. And he played from 1976 till 1993. Mr. Dale Murphy. Very happy to have this card in PSA 8. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate your comments. Give me a thumbs up. I hope you enjoy the video. I'm going to have to think of another $100 budget video I can do. This one was a lot of fun. Just took a lot of time to do. Dragging my feet buying these cards. But hope everyone enjoyed the video and keep on collecting.